All consumers are facing this. And now I'm going to ask Benji these questions. How high do you think rents are in all the major cities? We have the top 20 rents available. So my friend, how much do you think the top 1-bedroom apartment is in the US?
Average or in the top city?
The city and the amount, both.
Okay, the top city, I definitely think it's New York City.
Boom!
Okay, Manhattan.
New York, it's New York and New York.
Yeah, New York, Manhattan. And I think the average for that is $3,500.
$4,200. $4,200 for the 1-bed. The 2-bed is $4,670. The 1-bed is up year over year 24.6%, and the 2-bed is up 22.3%.
What's the 2-bed? Do I have to guess?
$4,670.
For the 2-bed or for the
2-bed's $4,670.
Yeah.
1-bed is $4,200. That's almost, it's almost $5,000 for 2 bedrooms.
Oh my gosh, that is freaking crazy.
Okay, try and guess the next 2 or 3.
Oh, the next 2. Okay,
Yeah.
the second.
Just the cities, and then I'll tell you the numbers.
Okay, cool. Man, I want to say the second city would have to be top 3. It's got to either be like a Boston, Chicago, or San Francisco.
Oh, you're nailing it. New Jersey's number 2, San Fran's number 3, Boston's number 4, and Miami, Florida. Okay, 1-bed in Jersey, $3,260. San Fran, $2,900. Boston, $2,850. And Miami, $2,710. Where does good old Seattle rank on this list, or is it even in the top 20?
I think it is in the top 20, but low, probably like.
It's number 17, a 1-bedroom in where we're
Let me
at
guess.
here in the
Let me
Seattle
guess.
Metro. Yeah, go ahead.
A 1-bedroom in downtown Seattle, I bet is $2,600.
$1,910.
Oh, went down. In fact, by the way,
It actually did go down. So it went down over 5% in the last year.
so let's talk about that real quick. A little secret about my whole strategy with real estate is if you know what the rental price is for any market and where it's going, whether up or down, it tells you almost everything you need to know. It tells you what houses should be priced at, right? Even though that's a rental thing, it tells you kind of like what the market can afford. Also, if you can see if it's going up or down, it tells you, are you in a correction phase or are you in a prices are going up phase, which also tells you about where your offers should be. So I've been keeping track of downtown Seattle for a while, and for the first time I heard from somebody that's looking for a 1-bedroom place that they're finding apartments or just units that are going for less than what it did at the peak.
Absolutely. The 2-bedroom is $2,590. Remember, this is an average, so there are ones above that and below that, and then the 2-bedroom is down 7.2%. Whether you're the renter or the investor, if rental rates are going down, it's a function of supply and demand. That means the demand is, the supply is now exceeding the demand. Therefore, there's not enough demand. Therefore, they have to lower prices. And when you see it in national numbers like this, what you also need to understand is this isn't reporting incentives that they may have given up a month's rent for free or something of that nature. When you look at this, you go, okay, as a buyer, I can get a deal. As an investor, you also need to then be discounting the rents on any pro formas that you look at and putting in higher vacancy factors to deal with this. Because when you look at something and it says a 5% vacancy factor, for example, a 5% vacancy factor is like the unit was vacant for like 2 weeks. That's really hard to turn something that quick. I think an 8 to a 10% vacancy factor would be a more normal turn time unless you've just absolutely got a machine set up. Regardless, the main thing to be thinking about here is most of these are not going up. However, on the East Coast, you were still seeing those massive jumps. Now, for last month, and we'll close with this here, which cities had the biggest fall and which cities had the largest rises?
So what amount of time?
In the medium 1-bedroom rent versus in the last year.
In the last year? Well, I definitely think San Francisco is in the top 1.
No.
For the drop?
Nope.
No?
Gilbert, Arizona. So apparently Gilbert, Arizona is very much overbuilt.
Got
Detroit,
it.
Michigan.
So it's all the places people move to and then maybe like, oh, this ain't that nice, and then moving back. Oh.
Or not only did they move there during the pandemic, then the apartment booms exploded in those areas
Inventory
and they
went up.
built a bunch of inventory
Got it.
to keep up with demand, but they overbuilt. And that's why I think, because if you look at these cities, the areas with the top fall, Detroit, Houston, Louisville, and Durham are all areas that received an influx, but also a lot of apartment building. And the top jumps were all in areas I didn't know. Omaha, Nebraska, North Fork, Virginia, Lincoln, Nebraska, Columbus, Ohio, and Wichita, Kansas. So all in
The Midwest.
the Midwest
Places you would want to stay long term.
that are also affordable.
And I wonder if there's a certain industries in those areas too.
We could go and dig into that. That's always something to be looking at as an investor, like what is supporting that local economy, what's helping it there. What's interesting is all the top risers are generally in these affordable areas. And so
Makes sense.
as the economy and inflation pinches people more, that's causing people to look for these affordable rents, but then these affordable rents are rising faster.